Hi, so I am on my 7 single speed. Let me turn this off. I'm on my 7 Sola SLX. I bought back in 2016 and I love this bike. For a few years this was my only bike and I rode the shit out of it. Actually, up until 2 years ago, this was my only bike. So from 2016 all the way up to 2019, this was my only bike that I was riding. So that's why you see me on Instagram doing that 1 year all year, because it literally was. Thank you. But now I've got the gravel bike. I use that for my long epic rides. I had a bike that was I had another gravel bike before. I had my 7 Evergreen, but the 7 Evergreen was really my dream gravel bike. And this is my dream single speed. So you might ask yourself, why would somebody make a dream bike a fully rigid bike? It doesn't make sense. Or a full rigid. I guess you could say it either way. And I think the reason I did that is, number one, I've had a rigid single speed before this. It was my Niner Sir 9, and I had the Niner carbon fork on that bike, so it was rigid. And that carbon fork on the Niner was a harsh fork. It was more like a road carbon fork. This carbon fork, the NV mountain fork, actually is more forgiving. And then of course this build has evolved. Originally I had different handlebars and a different stem, and now I have this Hope stem. I think mainly because I kind of love a smaller company, although Hope's pretty big, but I love a company that's a little off the mainstream, does all the machine parts and makes stuff in-house. And Hope had this stem that Hope's been around for a while, but they really do an amazing job. So I have the Hope stem on this, then I put the Hope hubs. Originally I have my Hadley hubs. I still have that wheel set, but these are Hope hubs that I have on here now. I didn't go with the Hope brakes just because I like to have brakes that it's easy for me to work on, and I know how to work on Shimano brakes, and I like Shimano brakes, so I like consistency. Although I do have the Hope brakes on my gravel bike, but I didn't get the Hope brakes on this. They're the Shimano. Anyway, and then the Hope bottom bracket and the Hope cranks. So I'll show you how my dream build looks as soon as I get down a little bit further. Now as far as tires, and I always tell you guys about my tires, I've got Terraville tires on this bike, and I've got the Coronados which are huge, 29 by 2.8 up front. And then I've got the Terravel A-lines, 29 by 2.5 in back. Both of them are the light and supple casing. I've kind of got mixed feelings about continuing with the light and supple casing. And I'm going to do one of my tires as a durable casing on my other single speed. But the one thing I do consistently on my tire and my wheel setup is I run cush core in the back and rim packed in the front. So that kind of helps a little bit as far as making the tire a little bit better at taking a hit and not pinch flatting the tire. Because as you know, a tire gets pinch flatted like a tube, even though you don't have a tube in there. Now it's the tire getting that pinch flat or snake bite or however you want to name it. And when you're running tubeless and your tire gets pinch flatted like that, it's done for that tire to ever be run tubeless, because you just cannot get that tire to seal up with even when you patch it, because that hole along the bead will never seal up fully. So here's what my bike looks like. Give you a little look since I'm talking about it. And here's the Hope. Now these are the SST single speed trial hubs. So they have a little bit shorter free hub body, so you don't have a bunch of spacers in there, and it makes a stronger wheel, because then the flanges, this part right here, it's a little bit wider spread. Super wide 35 millimeter I-35 rims. Those are the Wtb KOMs. And then the Terravel tire. And then this is where I was saying I kind of got into a Hope thing with this bike. Look at those Hope Evo cranks. They're super stiff, really nice, inexpensive for, I mean, you can go crazy and get E-wings or get some real expensive carbon race face cranks. And I have the race face carbon cranks, but these are definitely stiffer. A traditional Thompson seat post is not a dropper post, so I have to manually drop it, which is, you know, good and bad. It keeps it simple. Cane Creek 110 headset, I bought that when I first built this up. Then I've got the Hope stem, like I told you about. You probably saw that already. The Mountain Fork by Envy, and then the front rim is the same rim as the back, and it's the Hope, same Hope hub in the front. And then these handlebars are the SQ Labs 30X bars. So they have a really radical back sweep, 16 degrees back sweep, and they have a nice flexy feel. I don't know if you could see this, but I could feel it, and it has a little bit of give to it. On a rigid bike, you appreciate that. Wtb Saddle. I've just had Wtb saddles for a long time. I kind of like this saddle. This is the I forget which one that is, but what does it say? Oh, SL8 slate saddle. SL8. I guess it's pronounced slate. King cages, the tie cages, XTR pedals. I just put the XTR pedals, and then on the brakes, like I said, I like Shimano, so I went ahead and did the Shimano XTR brakes, but those are the dual pistons, the newer ones. The newer Shimano brakes are just amazing. And what else is on here? These grips are the ODI Born grips. You know, I like the Ergon grips, but these ones are a close second. I really like the way these feel. And I think that about covers it. I mean, it's a single speed. There's not a lot of parts on it. So anyway, tell me what you think. This is my really, like, it's a big pump track bike. It's a big trials bike. It's something that I really feel connected to the trail, and that's why I love riding this bike. Oh, I've got a Hope bottom bracket too. The Hope bottom brackets have the bigger bearings and last a little bit longer than some of the other bottom brackets. And that's how it's set up. And then the Hope C-post collar. So anyway, I love this bike. At one point I was thinking of getting rid of it because I have another single speed, but now I'm going to keep it, and I don't care. I'm just going to start collecting more bikes just because I can. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll post up another video shortly.